Hi, this is Tanya and this is my channel. So I wanted to review season 2 of Sister Wives, episodes 5 through 8, 9, number 9. Um, the first one begins with episode 5. The title is Wife 3 Hits the City, and that's when Christine and Cody take their kids and go to Las Vegas to spend some time together, have like a little mini vacation. Christine in this episode mentions that when Robin came into the picture that Cody wasn't, spending as much time with her, and she felt like she wasn't enough, and she was a little conflicted about like, there's this nice lady coming into our family, and this is what our religion, dictates to us, that we, have plural marriages, but in a sense, she felt like, you already had 3. Why did we need a 4th, and why was I not enough to fill the needs? So that I think is, it was way back when in season 2 is when Christine not feeling like she has a good relationship with Cody was enough for her too. But it seemed like she just wouldn't admit that at the time. Cody wanted to get away from the investigation, so he figured that was a good time for them to go. He was under a lot of stress and worried that they were going to arrest him for polygamy. The county had come and started an investigation. They were trying to figure out if they were going to prosecute him for anything or not. Robin talks about how hard it is for older women. Oh, yes, so as they're gone and they're talking about like Christine did need this and she deserved this after she had Truly, and she was having what we know now, she was talking about having postpartum depression, and then Robin mentions how Christine was a older mother, so you can have more complications and problems, and it's harder on your body and that kind of thing, which maybe she was just being like informative, and it is a true thing. The older you get, closer to 40, they call them geriatric pregnancies basically, but it can be harder on the body. It could be harder on the child. You can get more you're more at risk for like Down syndrome and things like that. So I can see from the technical way that she is correct, but it just seems like it was a bit of a dig at Christine, for Robin to say that. So I didn't care for her mentioning it, but and also like it could have been like, look, I'm still in my 30s, I can still, or my lower 30s, I can still have lots of kids for you, and that can be like a feather in her cap where Cody is concerned, getting his attention and his love from him, for her. Cody and the kids, they went to a wax museum, which I find very creepy, wax museums. They seem to have fun there. And then Mary, they called to check in with Mary. I guess she was applying for a job because like in the end of last season, I think where they sit down and have the one-on-one, or not one-on-one, but that little panel that they do at the end, she mentioned that she got fired from her job working with, I think it was like mental health with teens, or something, like social worker or something like that with teenagers, and they fired her because it's more like because she is in this very public show, and when you have people coming in for health care, you don't really want that to be publicized, and if you have a lot of people around trying to get information from Mary, then it just doesn't go well. The underlying reason could be that she is a polygamist, but you can't really fire somebody for religious beliefs. Then another one was Christine and Cody. I guess they get the older kids to watch the younger kids in the hotel room, and they go to a romantic dinner. And then she talks to Cody about the struggle she's had with Robin coming into the picture. And honestly, like, Cody doesn't seem to give a crap. He's just like, well, this is how it is. This is how it was when you came into the family with with Mary and Janelle, and so you're just going to have to get used to it. So that led me to believe that I think he knew that she didn't want another wife coming in, and I don't think he cared. I think he just brought Robin in because he wanted it, and that's the end of this discussion. So that was that episode, and then episode 6, excuse me, was called Polygamist Party, which, some of the things that happened didn't seem much of a party about, but Mary in the beginning talks about her sister and how she died from colon cancer, and she was getting ready to get in to see a gastroenterologist so she could get a colonoscopy to make sure that she didn't have it. She had gone several years, it sounds like, and the other wives have been trying to talk her into getting the studies. And there are actually genes that you can test to see if there is colon cancer, that you have it. And then you can also get your kids tested, and it's like, I want to say 30% of people who get colon cancer have this gene, and I can't remember which one it is. I studied it a few years ago, but you can get tested for a gene, and if you have that gene, then you're like 70% risk of your child getting it. So your children have to get tested and make sure they're getting colonoscopies and genetics testing and the whole things. So she talks about that. And then Robin talks about having the complication of her children having a biological father, and she was worried about, like, with this conversation, Mary's sister did die of colon cancer, and I guess there was a concern about her kids. Her kids actually were able to go to, stayed with their dad, their biological dad, and then one of the other sister wives that they lived with, because Mary's sister was involved in a polygamist relationship as well. So those kids were taken care of. They got to stay home in their home environment after she passed away. And Robin mentioned how she was worried about the kids' biological dad taking them from this polygamous family of the Browns, and she didn't know what she was going to do. So this starts the ball rolling for what we know in later season, when Mary ends up divorcing Cody so that Robin can have the kids adopted by Cody so they can stay within the family and not go to, I think it's David Preston, whatever his name is. So that begins this way back in season 2. Yeah, so also I wanted to say, like, if you have colon cancer, especially if it's in your close family, like brother, sister, or mother, father, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, then definitely get screened. And if you look on American Cancer Society, type it in, Google it, or whatever platform, American Cancer Society screening by age, and go to your age group, and it will tell you what is recommended for your age. So, like, my age would be breast screening for mammograms, the colonoscopy. If you're a man, which I am not, but if you're a man, prostate exam or PSA labs, or whatever, to check for prostate. So it gives you a good guideline to look at. Also, if you're a smoker, if you smoke for a long time, you should, like, talk to your doctor about getting a low dose CT scan every year to make sure that you don't have any, like, lung nodules or anything like that. So please go to American Cancer Society screening by age and figure out which ones are recommended for you. Talk to your healthcare provider, NPPA, MDDO, whatever they are. Talk to your primary care and see which ones you need to do, because it's much better to catch it early and treat it and hopefully find a cure than it is to wait until it's too late, and it's hard to go through therapies like chemo, radiation, immunotherapy, those kinds of things. And if they're not going to work because you're already at late stages, then let's prevent that. Then I Oh, then they had some monogamous friends that came over for dinner, so they were planning that. And a lot of them were saying, we didn't know that Robin was a polygamist. When we were going to school, I had no idea. And then she told me, and I was so shocked. And then some of like Christine's family, they're like, or sorry, friends, they're like, well, we kind of suspected, but we didn't say anything because, you don't want to out people for something and get them in trouble with the law, that kind of thing. Um, also, um, Christine was talking about her grandpa again. We've heard this conversation, I think, a couple times before, where they're, worried about getting arrested because Christine's grandpa, several years ago, I don't know what year it was, but was arrested for polygamy and had to go to jail, and then all the kids were split up and the wives were split up and that kind of thing. So they continue to be worried about that. They talk about their kids keeping it quiet at school with friends, because they don't want to out their parents, and they don't want to, be the cause of Cody going to prison. But I thought it was kind of interesting too. So it comes back to, it's like kind of bopping back around between this conversation and then Mary getting her colonoscopy. So it's kind of back and forth. But they do the colonoscopy with Mary. They get her prepped. They get her in there. And it actually shows like the, the colonoscopy is on the behind side of her. So it shows her from the front getting this colonoscopy and the steps that they go through. So they actually let Cody in there, and I was kind of surprised because all the doctors and the nurses and the techs that are running the equipment, they all have their PPE on, their the gown and the gloves and the things that you do to protect from giving like infection to the patient that's on the table. But Cody didn't have any of that stuff on, so that was kind of weird to me. I was surprised they would even let him back there without it on. And I don't think that they would have done that, in the hospitals that I have worked at. Pretty much you go back there by yourself with the techs, with the doctor, with whoever, and then you come back out, and then they catch you on your recovery room, not in the endoscopy room itself. But that had to have been like an agreement between, a TLC and the hospital that would allow them to go in there. So, but they still should have had his PPE on him. Yeah, the women, so yeah, it bounces back to the friends at the dinner, and it talks about, and it shows you the women cooking together and how they actually are enjoying cooking together, and they're playful. So, we've heard stories that they didn't get along in the kitchen. Why are we having to share a kitchen? And we don't ever want to share a kitchen again. But at this time, they look very happy together playing in the kitchen. So I don't know if it is when the cameras are on that they're putting on a show, or if they could get along together if Cody's not around. I don't know, but this looked pretty fun to me. So they talk with friends about what would happen if what happened when everyone at each workplace found out, and Janelle especially, she works in a place where there's like probably cubicles and stuff like that, so she's pretty quiet probably about her home life, and she's more about down to business. So it didn't seem like most of them even cared. They're just like, okay, you're polygamous, that's something different, and that's just some another way of life to be. So and then it bops back down to Mary, and her results showed that her she had some polyps, a couple polyps in there, and they were precancerous, so they were able to remove them, and she didn't need like oncology therapies at all. But they would repeat a colonoscopy 3 years after that, and every 3 years, just to make sure that nothing grows in the meantime. So get your colonoscopies if you need them. Episode 7 was the Brown family decision. So that talks about the kids are in snow and the kids are making snow angels. They're getting ready to go to the cabin for Christmas. Um, it talks about Deputy County Attorney for Utah. Um, Deputy County. I'm sorry. Deputy Court Attorney for Utah County, Donna Kelly, was quoted, "The Browns have definitely made it easier for us by admitting to felonies on national TV." So they admitted to felonies, she said. And she gave them a 60 to 90 day time frame before they made a decision whether they found something enough to prosecute them for. So they knew at that time that they had about two months, probably, is what they figured. The kids ended up in that episode drawing names for their gift exchange. So if you follow all through the series, I was trying to remember, was it 17 or 18? Season 17 or 18, when the fight between the kids. So Robin's kids were like, "You're being mean to us. We don't want to participate." Or I think Robin stepped in and said, "I don't want my kids to participate in this because it's not very nice the way you guys are talking," that kind of thing. It was this whole text messaging because of COVID and having to be split apart, that kind of thing. So I guess it started way back a long time ago. This is season 2. They were most of the kids that are adults now were little at that time. So and they were all very happy. They were so happy drawing names for their brothers and sisters. It was so sweet, and you could see how they would bond over that. And then they did this every year. So for this to get the kibosh put on over some misrepresentative statements that were said, I don't think that the kids, they were like picking at each other like kids do. They pick at their siblings, and I don't think they intentionally wanted to hurt anybody's feelings. I feel like, this is this last season, so I feel like the parents or like Robin should have been like, "You guys, you need to speak a little better. We can get this done." But I was just sad that she got in the middle of the sibling relationship. I don't think that should have happened, but because they were so sweet and loving and sharing at the time that they're doing this gift exchange. I had to say what Garrison at the time said. It was so cute the way he said it. He said, "It's a good thing about having 4 moms because I get to have 4 different presents, or 4 extra presents." So that was very cute. Mary got upset. She was seeing a policeman was turning around in her driveway, and she thought that the police were coming to arrest somebody. So she calls and she's upset, and everybody's freaking out. But it ends up the person was just turning around to help somebody that like broke down or something at the end of the street. So it wasn't as big a deal. But if you're already under that pressure and you're expecting them to possibly show up, then I guess it would make you pretty darn nervous. So. And then Christine again talks about historically, when Grandpa was arrested, his wives were taken at night. They split the kids up, and then not too many pages, I think. No, that's right. And they split the kids up, and then Cody was very stressed out, and they were like, "Poor Cody, it's so hard on him." They're getting the kids ready to go to the cabin. So Cody, there was lots of snow, so much snow, trying to get to the cabin that only like one of the vehicles would get over to it. So they had to like make several trips to go get their stuff and then leave the other cars that couldn't make it in another lot. And it was so chaotic whenever they were getting everything in and out, and everybody looked so tired. But the next day they have fun on snowmobiles, they have fun decorating a tree, and the family looks genuinely happy together, just participating in the games and the things that they were doing. So that was a really good time for this family, I think. So the police, this is like the time that they're trying to keep their kids' minds off of the potential of him getting arrested. So they're trying to keep, keep them happy and keep them um, from thinking about that kind of thing, distract them from it. But after the police had said, this is felonies that he has committed, and this makes it easy, and you got 60 days basically. It seems like Cody is like, okay, by this day we're gonna have to be gone out of here. And then the wives were upset; they didn't want to leave. But episode 8, the title of that one was Sister Wives and Holiday Crisis. So the kids were sledding. They're still at the cabin. The kids are sliding. So they have this big wall of snow by the cabin, and they're sliding down the hill towards the cabin. And then they have this big wall that's kind of protecting the cabin. So then, I don't know why they did this and why they didn't just leave it alone to stop the kids from going into the house or whatever. They thought it would be fun to like go up like a ramp up the little slope of snow, and Mary ends up going over it and hitting the house, and you could hear like the thump, and you could see it in the window that they showed it. So they're like, are you okay? She was all right, but pretty dangerous. And though maybe it was fun for her, but I'm surprised that the kids didn't try to do that and get hurt. But it ended up just being her. So all the older kids didn't want to leave Utah. Yeah, they talked about they need to leave, they need to move away, and the kids didn't understand it. And they had their friends at their high schools and different things. The kids play in the hot tub. And they had just a blast there together. It was really sweet. Christine cooks for everybody. But the other wives would help her. Like she'd say, I need this. And they were working pretty well with her as the lead, I guess you could say. And then like even in, was it season 1 when Cody was, Robin was new to cooking for Cody whenever he was at her house. And I think she put pepper on the eggs, and he does not like pepper. So he's like, oh, Christine will show you. Christine will show you. So anytime Robin would do something wrong with his food, he'd say, go talk to Christine. She'll show you how to make this correctly for me. So you could see that. So Christine was the head of the household, really. And it just amazes me that now he's like, she wasn't a good sister wife, and she didn't help us at all, and all these kinds of things. But there's proof, Cody. There's proof that Christine was the center of the household duties and the cooking and the caregiving, and it's there. It's historically the truth. All the kids get homemade pajamas from Mary on Christmas. They were all very happy, and they did this little fashion show, and everybody thought that was so sweet and cute. And they were all very happy with that, and that was like a tradition that Mary would do. On the couch talk, Christine expresses that she doesn't want to move due to fear. She had been the one to say that her grandpa was arrested. So I thought that was kind of weird, because it's kind of like a conflict, right? So my grandpa was arrested, and this happened in the state of Utah, but I don't want to leave because we're afraid. So I don't know what she wanted then. Did she want to just chance it and see if they would arrest him? Or did she not believe that they would arrest him? I don't know. But again, like in another talk that I have done, I think it was the last one, over 30,000 polygamists just from the AUB, the FLDS, and the Kingston clan. There's at least 30,000 polygamists. Are you going to arrest everybody? And what are you going to do with them? And the kids and the wives. That's a lot of people. And this is a religious belief. So are you going against their amendment? Are you going against their rights? That's a good question. Um, Robin gives Mary a figurine of sisters dancing, and you can see how close they were at that time between Mary and Robin. They did special little things for each other, so that's um, part of what you see through the years and why they try to keep that close relationship, I think. But it did seem to fizzle out in the end. Um, and I kind of wondered if it seems like Cody usually singles Christine out on the couches. Like, he thinks she's trying to think independently and he squashes it, like he wants to be the one making the decisions and she can't think for herself. I have to think for her, kind of thing. So he pretty much says, I'm going without you if you don't move with me. And she's like, of course I'm going to move with you if we have to. But she just wanted a conversation about, like, can you explain to me why? What are you thinking? Do we really have to? Or can we give it more time or whatever? Can we find out from our lawyer what's best before we just jump ship and go ahead of time? So, and I can understand. I mean, she's your wife, supposedly. So why aren't you talking to her? Why aren't you getting her opinions? She is an adult. She is a person, and she has the right to her opinions. And together they should be making the decision. It shouldn't be like the one person making the decision for everybody. But it appears at that time that that was the case, that Cody just makes the decision and everybody falls in line or leave. Hunter cries because he's so upset to move. None of the older kids wanted to leave. And then we later see, like, when they get to Las Vegas, how upset he was and he didn't want to participate in anything with the family or school or anything like that. They do show a sweet picture of McKelty and Truly sleeping. Oh, that was just such a touching moment, and I hope that, and I may mention it to McKelty. I do message her once in a while, so I may mention to her that she might want to, like, snip that and put it in a frame or something, because that was just so beautiful to see. Episode 9, it was called No Place for Home. So Christine expresses her concern about moving to Las Vegas still. They're worried that it will tear the family apart. Logan is very wise for his age, and he explains to the other older kids on the couch that they need to be positive for the younger ones, because if they're upset, then the little ones are going to be upset. But if they're okay and happy about it, then it will comfort the little kids and they'll be more understanding and cooperate. They were planning Mary's 40th birthday party, and it was 70s theme. I think Mary, Robin, and Cody went to Las Vegas to find them homes there. They couldn't, of course, find a polygamy home and they mentioned needing like 15 to 16 bedrooms for one big polygamy home. Wow. But I guess, Las Vegas, they're not known for having polygamists really being there as a group, so they didn't have anything available. And even the real estate officer or agent was saying that she'd never heard of anybody having that much. Usually they're bigger homes with, the square footage would fit 15 or 16 homes, but those big homes are usually like 5 or 6 bedrooms with a lot of square footage for each room. So, people have, more space to move around in, but not for polygamy people. And I think it looks like we meet Jen here. Mary's friend Jen, but she had dark hair at that time, so I think it's the same one. She was helping plan the party, so I didn't realize it even way back then. In season 2, Jen and Mary were good friends. We meet Mona. She was the realtor. They do find some homes and they make an offer. They mentioned that for Mary's surprise party that she never gets surprised. She always gets suspicious and finds out something. But Mary did not find anything out this time, and they actually were able to surprise her. Um, and then it mentions that the offers that they made on the homes didn't go through. I guess they didn't offer enough money for them, or maybe I think they were wanting to go for like a kind of a rent to own or something like that. And they're like, no, we don't want to do that. We just want to sell it outright. But Cody starts crying because he needs to move and he fears being arrested. There's no homes to go to. They have to find rentals. And he has to tell the younger kids, and he feels like he's a failure as a dad, and he doesn't want to let people down or disappoint them. So and I can see that, being a parent, you want everything to go well, so that your kids and your family have everything they need. But when the outside doesn't allow for that, then it's very disappointing, upsetting, and you do sometimes feel like a failure. But all you can do is cry it out, and then get up and figure out what you need to do from this point. So that was season 2, episode 5 through 9. And then I'll be back with the next set next week. And let me know what you think. Thank you so much. Have a good night.